We're talking about marketing and branding and positioning either a brand or a personality within the fashion and lifestyle category. I think the most important thing is to stay focused, and a big sort of mistake or temptation is to overextend or chase too many different distribution channels. And I think if you stay focused on one important goal at the time, you have a higher, your chances of succeeding are increased, because if you spread yourself too thin when you're a small organization, you diminish your chances to really make an impact. So I would say kind of overextending or not being focused would be a concern when you're doing something entrepreneurial.
Culture is one of the core subjects that we talked about, that we focus on. It's very near and dear to Tori's heart, personally and professionally, and to sum it up, it's really about authenticity. So when we look at opportunities from a marketing perspective, from an employee perspective, from people that we're bringing into the organization, partnerships like Bismarck, companies that we work with, we always look through the lens of our own authenticity. Is there a connection to our culture? Does it feel like the same vibe that we believe in? And from a marketing perspective, that's no different. So when we look at opportunities, we absolutely say, does this feel right for the culture and the brand? And it really comes down to that authenticity. So whether that's social media, we'll probably parlay into that discussion, but just to give a quick example, so Twitter to Tori, she tweets, that's her account. That's really her doing it. And so Twitter serves as the voice of Tori, which is a big differentiator for us, that customer can connect directly with Tori and hear from her. And then whereas Facebook is more the voice of the brand. But there's a thread that ties them both together where it feels connected but different, and that's that authenticity or that culture.
I think that a wall has really come down. It used to be that there was a story on a designer and you might look forward to, whether it was a trunk show at Bergdorf's or a PA because a fragrance was launching, and you got to know the designer as a personality, but you couldn't really engage. Whereas now, I think Tori's a perfect example, like she personally tweets, and I think the consumer's direct access to a designer or to sort of a brand ambassador, or, however you want to, whichever language you want to use, is very different. There isn't sort of like a barrier between that. There's a lot more engagement, and I think the designer or founder of an organization has to be willing to go there. It's not like, you can't kind of sit back and say, I'm going to build this brand and put out my story. You have to go out there and really be in it and be authentic.
I think we're in this moment of business models are being turned upside down, because there's this social thing taking place where people are connected directly to the source, and that could be true of a product or anything. So it's not just about a company anymore, it's more about an idea and a connection.
Have your clients wanted to reposition themselves in the wake of the economic downturn? And if so, how? Oh, sorry, am I picking all the bad ones?
Yes, sorry, but I looked at, I really went through all my clients and I said, did they try to reposition themselves? And I really only know one client who, whether there would have been a recession or not, he has this quality that he speaks to one person and they say to him, you really should position your brand there. And then he speaks to the next person and he's like, oh yes, well, I will do what he says. He knows everything about the fashion industry. Then he speaks to the next person and that person says like, yeah, you should really stick to what you're great at. And so he comes to me and he says, I don't know what to do now, and I think I should position it at a lower price point, but then, then it doesn't really work with the production. And I think that the rest of my clients were very steadfast. They, it's a strange message if all of a sudden you slash your prices, and then what if the recession is done? You bring it up again, and then the consumers are going to go like, wait, why? So I don't think that works. I think you have to, stick to your guns and ride it out like everybody else. doing.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Marissa?
Oh, great. Kansai.
I think this is a question for everyone, seeing you've all been exposed to successful brands. What do you think in a market that's as crowded as the US creates a success story? Is it the designer as the personality? Is it the brand? Is it the product? Or is it a good PR company? Or deep pockets? Is it just the person who's got the most money to put out there and be in people's faces is the one who wins? What is it that creates success for a new person coming into a crowded marketplace?
I can start with that one. I think all of the things that you mentioned are important. I think, you know, without a product and without something that's special and unique, or that there's a need or a want for, you know, you're a little challenged. But I think the key thing is differentiation. Is making sure whatever you bring is unique. It could be the same type of product, but it has something about it that is differentiated, and no matter what you do, you focus on your differentiators.
I'll springboard off a word that Vicky used earlier that's sort of in the culture right now and being talked about a lot, but it's authenticity. And I think that one of the most critical things of coming in, you know, if it's a concept or you're a designer from another country and you want to enter this market, I think to really stand apart and again differentiate is to have an authentic story, to have really a story to tell, not just a product. Here I have these leather handbags, because that's what Keith spoke to earlier. We're in a very, very crowded, overpopulated, over-retailed world. And I think if you can come in with an authentic voice and passion for the story that you have to tell, editors are going to be more engaged, consumers are going to be more engaged, and without that, you're pushing an elephant up a hill, and there are a lot of other people pushing different elephants up that hill, and it's really challenging. But if you can bring a passionate, authentic story to this market, people will take notice. Editors are really hungry for that. They see a lot, and I think they recognize when someone has a real vision and has something that's very genuine to say beyond just a product story.